tension, a feeling I never was expecting. I don't see the pros, don't know the cons, forget the whys. Do you know why?
What is up, guys? Welcome to the Being Beautifully Honest podcast and channel. Thanks for being here, being subbed. If you're not, hit the button. And if you're listening on YouTube, hit the like. It's like walking in the room and hitting that light switch. Let's brighten up the place and get into this conversation. I wanted to talk about this and I want to get your thoughts on it because in light of all of the things that are going on right now with Diddy, his so-called adopted son, which I don't get because the biological father, to my knowledge, never gave up parental rights, and that would be Albie Shore. But Quincy, with all of the things going on right now, Albie Shore, he made a plea for him to come home. So he did an open letter to him on social media. And he says, "Come home. The door is wide open. You're safe here, son. I love you. Pops, you're biological." And some people are speculating if Quincy may have had something to do with the cooperation, so to speak. No, I wouldn't even call it cooperation, but some people are thinking that Quincy may have turned in some things that he has seen, since there's been a lot of word going around in light of the litigation that came out about Cassie. And I'm sure his ears were open and his eyes were open as well to hear speculation about Diddy possibly having something to do with his mom no longer being here. And if he was listening, not saying he believed everything, but I'm quite sure he has questions and he misses his mom. It's possible that he may have started looking around and gathering some clues and this and that and the other. And now with this coming out that Albie Shore is like, "Look, come home. You're safe here." I don't know. It makes me wonder what really happened where it got to the point where Albie Shore was not in his son's life like that, in terms of, from what we can see, because we don't know. None of us have been there to see what was really going on. But I always wonder when I would hear these stories that Quincy was Kim Porter's son. She was in an on-again, off-again relationship with Sean, and that he was like adopted by Sean in some way, but Albie Shore never gave up his parental rights, because I never heard anything about Albie Shore actually giving up his rights. But here recently, we've seen Seancombs out and about with the twin daughters, looking unbothered, pretty much in light of all of the things that's been going on, which is, it's weird to me when people like this, they have the money and the access and the resources, and they're just going about as if it's just a regular day. Homeland Security raided 3 of his homes, and he's out hanging out with his daughters during spring break. All of them have on sunglasses, and he's throwing up the peace sign at the cameras. And I mean, I'm not saying if charges haven't been filed against him, he should be cowering in the corner, sweating it out, waiting for something to come down. Either, yes, you're being charged with X, Y, and Z, or you're in the clear. Some news, right? But it's weird to me. He's just walking around as if it's a regular day. He's on spring break with his daughters, and they're beautiful, by the way. They look like their mom to me. They look like him a little bit, but they definitely, in my personal opinion, I feel like they're looking even more like their mom since they've grown up and her mom is no longer here. It's almost like their mom, in some way, her spirit sprinkled throughout her daughters. And it's really sad when I think about them. And I know there have been some people that are like, well, people just need to be easy on Diddy because what about his children? His children are his children, yes, but they're not. Well, he has a baby, but I'm talking about the older ones. To my knowledge, the baby wasn't at one of the homes when the homes were raided. They didn't handcuff the babies, So, yeah, he's just walking around living his life, but we have not seen Quincy with Diddy at all. But at this point in time, I'm not saying it's too late to have a relationship, but it just makes me wonder because at this point, Quincy is in his 30s. He's like in his young 30s. I don't know what type of relationship they have had, meaning Quincy and Al B. Sure. But now I'm wondering, is it, too late for him to be calling for his son to, quote unquote, come home when was that ever really his home? You know what I mean? But when something happened to Al B. Sure and he was giving coded language and writing up about what happened, he was basically insinuating that Diddy has something to do with him being hurt, as well as insinuating that Diddy has something to do with Kim no longer being here. He's been giving these coded statements for a minute now, but I can't imagine what it's like to be in that situation because I talked about that a little bit before when it came to the things that were coming out, the allegations about Jay-Z and his mistress and how Claudia Jordan was named in that article and how people like Claudia, just using her as an example, they may know things, but for the sake of protecting their own safety and lives, they don't really say anything because these people have their ways of taking care of people and getting them taken up out of here. So if they value their lives and their livelihoods and they're just trying to live, till God says it's time for them to be up out of here, not until a person says, no, this person has to go, then they stay somewhat quiet for the sake of just trying to live. That's got to be a scary place to be in. So I don't even judge Al B. Sure if Diddy has the types of connections that could have taken care of him, if you know what I mean. But to know that your son is with this person who may have possibly taken care of his mom, you know what I mean? The mother of your son, even if you were not in a relationship. But from what I heard, they said that Kim actually left Al B. Sure years ago for Diddy. So I'm sure was some tension there for a long time, right? But at this point in time, I don't know if Al B. Sure can say, come home, son, you're safe here. I mean, you can say it, but will it actually happen? He's a man. He's I think he's 32. He'll always be his son, of course, but he's not a little boy. And even though we may see our children as children, like literal little children, but when they're adults, they're going to make their own decisions and we can't force them to do what we want them to do. But I believe that Quincy may have his speculations and he may try to stay close for the sake of his other siblings, his sisters and everything else like that. But I often question, like, what was the real reason as to why he was closer to Diddy? I mean, I get it, the money, but that doesn't do it for every child. Every child isn't just going to be so enthralled by the person because of the money that they have and the things that they can do for them. Because there's some people that, yeah, they'll use the money, but they'll hate the person. They're not going to be like that close to them. And from what we could see, Quincy was really close to Diddy, And if his eyes are opening now and listening to some speculations about him actually having something to do with his mom's death, I'm hopeful that he may have had something to do with some things that were turned in about him. So maybe Diddy's just trying to enjoy the rest of his days as a free man, because he knows that some charges are going to be coming down soon. And so I don't know. But I just often wondered what was the rift, like the real rift, as to why he was more in a relationship with Diddy than he was with his own dad. If you guys know, you can let me know in the comment section. But I just wanted to talk about this briefly, because when I saw that he did this open letter to him to say, you can come home, I'm like, well, was that ever really his home? You know? So anyway, guys, you can let me know your thoughts about all of this in the comment section. Let me know what you think about Diddy still living it up out on spring break with the daughters as all of this is going on. And child, this is a mess that's just going to be something new in the news every day. So we'll just be here to talk about it and share our thoughts. So thanks for being here, guys. Thanks for liking and subscribing. I'm Beth, just being beautifully honest. So until next time, I wanted to keep it brief, beautiful, and now I'm going to say bye.
Wonder if we maybe were mistaken. Don't wanna talk, don't wanna see, don't